Got Your Back Pod Stream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at MrDirk.com. How we doing, everybody? Welcome to Got Your Back post-game edition. Ryan Rishaug here. Jason Strudwick standing by. Rob Brown's going to join us as well, and Chris Sabunia is at the helm. Not playing their best hockey, but finding wins, finding points, a penalty kill, and a Pickard. Pretty rock solid tonight, and the Oilers get by the Kraken once again. Not a big surprise, 8 in a row. They've absolutely dominated Seattle. Welcome to the show, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. Glad you joined us tonight. As always, our show brought to you by our title sponsor, Play Alberta. When you gamble, use your game sense. Play Alberta makes it easy to set deposit limits, time limits, and more so you can play casino games and bet on sports safely, securely, and responsibly. Everything that you need to know if you're a player is available online, playalberta.ca. I am safely pulled over and parked in our Adrenaline Diesel mobile studio. It's Edmonton's premier heavy-duty diesel truck repair shop, specializing in power training, tuning, performance, and parts sales. Check them out online as well at adrenalinediesel.ca. We say hello to Chris Sabunia, and we say hello to Jason Strudwick, and we say congratulations, gentlemen, to Stuart Skinner and his wife, welcoming their second child into the world. And so Calvin Pickard is thrust into action. Struds, it's getting to that point in that Oiler room, man. They're one of the older teams in the league now, but all of the guys that were once the young guys, you know, their families and kids, and it's a much different feel around there than 5-6 years ago. And always a big deal for a team when a guy welcomes a new one.
Yeah, a lot of excitement amongst the partners, right? The wives, girlfriends, they get really fired up, and there's going to be some kind of a shower, whatever they call it, and it's really fun, and people love that energy, and it just brings energy to the team. It's a very positive thing. And yeah, Stu missed a game, or maybe he'll miss two. It really, in the grand scheme of things, this is way more important, and the energy it brings to his family, but to the team, is also really important for him.
100%. Now, Zuby, did you miss work for either of your kids, Zuby, or did you just push through?
Gosh, that's a good question. That's crazy. I don't remember. I'm sure I did. I must have, but not for very long.
You must have. You're still married. You'd be divorced if you didn't.
Yeah. On my son, actually, I took paternity leave when my son was born. So that was pretty cool. Took a few months and did that. So that was awesome. I'm sure I didn't work the day out. I think my brother, I could say this because he does not listen to the show. He went. They have one daughter, my niece Eva. He went to a then Eskimos game the day that she was born. Oh. He has Elks season tickets. No. He went to an Elks game.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
CFL
I can't spin
game
that.
He went to?
Yeah.
I can't spin that. I can't spin that anyway, in a positive way.
It's true. My mom and dad they're always on the stream. So if I've got that wrong, they'll chime in and say something, but I'm pretty sure I'm almost positive.
Let you know.
He was like, well, what can I do now? She's there with the baby. What am I supposed to do? I've got tickets tonight.
Yeah. What's your brother's problem, by the way? Like, why doesn't he listen to the show? He doesn't support you?
He doesn't listen
Apparently family support is not his thing.
He's made it clear to me that he does not listen to any podcasts. So it's not just us. So.
Oh.
He's not shunning us.
Does he know we're on Twitch? Maybe we could land him on Twitch.
He's a huge Twitch guy, my bro.
Yeah. Well, we come at you in all different ways. So if it's not audio, video, we should be able to catch him in some basket anyways. Get him on board, buddy. Get him on the live stream. By the way, Rantanen, after her appearance last night, as I was leaving for work tonight, she said, if you need me on the show again tonight, I'm good to go. and asked if it could be a regular thing. So I think it might have. I think because she got such good reviews, Struds, it went to her head, and now she's wanting to be a regular.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, she was all over us about the size of our egos. It's nice to know she developed one as well. It goes to your head.
It must be the show, hey? It's just
hearing on the show. Egos. It's great.
Oh, big for our britches. All right. Okay, we do have a hockey game to break down, so let's get to that, Struds, courtesy of our friends over at Alberta Ram Dealers.
The 4x4 winter event is here. Get up to $11,200 in total discounts on 2024 Ram 1500 DT Bighorn at your Alberta Ram dealer. See your Ram dealer today.
Right on. Okay, so penalty kill perfect again. We got Pickard. We got McDavid's return. This is one of those night, Struds, where I'm not really sure what the headline is because it's not like it was a spectacular game. But it feels to me, and you can override me, you can shut me down, you can railroad this thing if you want, but it would seem to me that a clutch 5-on-3 penalty kill paved the way for the Oilers to figure out how to kind of make sure they got some points tonight.
Yeah, and so I'm going to give it a theme to this. I believe this was a random Monday game in the end of January, in the dog days of the season, where the team's like, "Oh, we got to play. We got a game tonight. Okay, let's just come out and just get it done." Because this wasn't a work of art, right? That there was, I thought puck management was a challenge for the Oilers, especially the standard they set. They've set all year. But two things came up big. You mentioned them: the PK, especially early. And then Calvin Pickard, with Stu Skinner out because of the birth of a child, which is a great moment. And now he comes in and he delivers a good performance. So, there's different ways to win games. And right now the Oilers are finding different ways. And I get it. They are fighting for first place. Yes, they're trying to challenge for, maybe top in the Western Conference. And then, maybe ultimately can they hunt down the top team in the East? But that being said, there's still human emotion here, Shogger. This game, in January 27th is a long ways away from Game 7 against the Florida Panthers in June.
Yeah, I love the way you put that. Like this really is the dog days. There's a break just around the corner that they're human beings. So I'm sure, that's kind of on your mind. They got a road trip coming up. Like it's one of those ones where you're not painting the perfect picture. It's not a Picasso. But the 2 points, a mature team kind of understands. Like, even on nights where you come out and you clearly don't necessarily have your best, you've got to find a high enough level somewhere in the night to give yourself a chance at it. And I think this team is getting a lot better. They're really good at salvaging points, often 2 points, out of nights where they don't show up with necessarily the right stuff, Struds. And earlier on in McDavid's tenure, earlier on in this core group's tenure as the leadership group, I feel like they struggled with that more.
That's a really fair point. And this is going to sound awful or weird, but I believe that a veteran team manages the puck well. And to get these types of wins, I didn't think they had that. Not everyone had the puck management today. And that was exposed early on. With Connor Brown, bringing it up to the blue line and then, trying to thread the needle through two players to get a pass to a D-man like that right there. If Leon does it, okay, Connor, I can live with that. Connor Brown, you just throw it back down below the goal line. Like that to me is the very definition of managing the puck, guys.
Yeah, we got Brownie checking in with us. Brownie, nice to chat with you, my friend. The first thing Struds and I got to was just kind of, Struddy made the point that it's kind of the dog days of the regular season here. And on a night where the Oilers didn't have it, you still figure out a way to pull some points out of it. And so there's the penalty kill and there's Pickard, and we'll get to those too. But what do you make of just their penchant, Brownie, for pulling points out of nights where they don't necessarily have it?
Well, I think it just shows you they're a good team that can win a game with a B or a C effort. And if you play against the Oilers, you need an A effort to compete with them. The Oilers don't always need their A effort because they're good enough. And it's something different every night. Tonight it's going to be their power play will win them a game, or their penalty kill, or their goaltending, or a fantastic play by Connor or Leon. Every team goes through a stretch where they're not as good. And the Oilers are in that right now. The difference is when most teams go on a stretch where they're not as good, they don't find points at the end of the night.
Yeah.
The really good teams find a way to get points, and that's what you see with Edmonton right now is they've been poor defensively in back-to-back games, albeit against bad teams that are going to miss the playoffs. But playing as bad defensively as they were, they still found a way to win hockey games because in big moments, someone stepped up. And tonight it was Corey Perry with a big goal in it right after Calvin Pickard made a big save.
Yeah, love it. We'll definitely get to that Perry goal as well. Struds, let's circle the penalty kill for a minute here because I believe it's 4 in a row now. I think they're perfect through their last 4 games. And a really, really big one tonight. But interesting, late in the game defending a lead. On a 5-on-3, like Ty Emberson is factoring in to a lot of defensive situations that are important, factoring into a penalty kill scenario as well. So it's not just about him. This is about the kill. But it seemed a lot of it turned early in the season when they leaned into Ty Emberson as a top unit penalty kill guy with Ekholm.
Yeah, finding the right fit there, and then, getting the guys back together up front and figuring out who is playing with who and what they're doing. Ekholm had a really good game tonight. He's important to the penalty kill. But what I loved about the penalty kill was, Seattle had a real tough time getting into the Oilers zone, especially in the later power plays. There were sticks in lanes, pucks being poked off sticks. You could see, their coaches were asking them to play a different way, or, the one time they had 2 drops, and that's getting up there as far as the number of drops on a power play entry. So they're really trying different ways, but the Oilers held that line. And I know from experience, when you're feeling it, you're willing to stay up. And the more you stay up, the worse it makes for them. And now you're staying up even more. And it really feeds on itself, just like it can negatively for a PK in that situation, or what we saw tonight with Seattle's zone entries, Brownie.
Well, 2 things. A, the penalty killing was excellent. The power play was horrific. Like, that Seattle power play was absolutely terrible tonight. And one of the things, and you just mentioned with the double drop, if you're going against the team, the Oilers stand 4 across. They just stand there, and they dare you to challenge them. If they've got 4 across the blue line, well, Seattle, they would do the double drop. That meant they had 4 of their players standing at the blue line. So now there's 8 guys and only 1 guy skating up. You cannot get into a defensive or an offensive zone if you're standing still against guys standing across the blue line. They need at least 3 players coming full speed up. That's how you break that. That was absolutely terrible on the Seattle Kraken. I don't know who runs their power play, but they got to go back and redo it because it was terrible. As for Emberson, I think he's done a good job, Shogger, 100%. But one of the things at the beginning of the year is they had Ekholm and Nurse playing together a lot of penalty kills. That meant one of them was on their offside. And when you're playing 5-on-5, being on your offside, it doesn't really affect you a lot. But being in a penalty kill, you have very little time to make a decision when you go grab a puck. I think having the right and left shot, Emberson and Ekholm, makes a huge difference. And I think Emberson is very good at reading plays defensively. And you're right. He's been excellent on the penalty kill, and one of the big reasons that the penalty kill has been so effective.
Can you speak to that, Struds, the righty-lefty offside on the penalty kill and how it might be different than evens?
Yeah. You know what? I did both. I played everywhere. I had to play everywhere so that I could play, but the nice thing, when you're killing a penalty on your offside, your stick is in your hand on the outside. And I found it was easier to poke pucks away. Right. So you imagine, if I'm playing the right side as a lefty, my stick's in my right hand and I'm right on the boards and I can jam those pucks away from guys and get there quicker rather than if my stick's in my other hand. So I actually like that. Where it became a challenge sometimes is when you dug the puck out of your corner on your backhand. So you try to turn the forehand or hard rim it or turn and just fire it up the middle. Going up the boards.
Clears,
it's pretty hard to go on your backhand. I mean, obviously, Leon can do it, but not everyone has a backhand as hard as their forehand.
Zuby, sorry, I know you guys were organizing what the sound was going to be. Do we have any sound specific to the penalty kill?
Oh, do we?
Oh, we do.
So you're saying we ever?
Do? Oh gosh, yeah.
Oh, do we ever? Okay, well that's great. Then Struds, let's get to the Weiss Johnson soundbox.
Weiss Johnson's offering 10% off any new furnace installed before March 1st. Should you need to replace your furnace because it stopped working or it's just getting old and unreliable, like Brownie's technical skills, which we all know are brutal, and you want a newer, better model that is more efficient, mention you heard it on Got Your Back podcast, and you book your estimate and you'll receive 10% off your new furnace price and a hug from Rob Brown. Visit weissjohnson.com today.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
No thanks.
So we got
somewhere Dennis Johnson is sitting in a chair listening or watching and chuckling to himself. An unknown person or player talking about the penalty kill. Struds, who is it?
It's Pickard. Pickard talking about it.
Cal Pickard.
Veteran guys, experienced guys that have good chemistry with each other, the pairs, the D pairs, and that was a big reason why we won tonight.
Is it predictable for you as a goaltender as to where the other team's going to be forced to move?
For sure. When our PKs go on, obviously, there's a lot of good players in this league, and they're going to earn some looks, but it is predictable, and that's exactly that. You can go up over, get a flank shot, and that guy's in the lane for the far side, so you can kind of step out on the short side. So very predictable, and definitely a big reason why we won tonight.
All right. Calvin Pickard with a heck of a performance in addition to the penalty kill tonight. That's probably where we should take this conversation next. We talked about it before, guys, how, was he 13-4? I think 9-1 in his last 10 or something like that. I mean, the numbers are just silly here for a backup. And so you end up in a situation where Stu Skinner has the baby coming, and the rotation gets thrown out of whack and Pickard on short notice, but it's just not even skipping a beat. Like, Brownie, the value of this level of reliability from a backup can't be overstated.
It can't. And what an incredible story, thinking that he was a third-string goalie for the Oilers, and then there's a Jack Campbell meltdown and the Oilers' terrible start, and he gets brought up. And I can't imagine the Oilers now not having Calvin Pickard. He was really good last year, stepped in the playoffs, got him a big victory in the playoffs. And I have no stat on this, and I just throwing this out there. I'm going to say that there's not a backup goaltender in the NHL this year that has a better record than Calvin Pickard at 13-4. I mean, it's just amazing what he's come in and done. He just gives them quality starts, and there's always a letdown or a bit of a drop off when you go from your starter to your backup, but it's very minimal here in Edmonton. You look at a team like Winnipeg, the difference between Hellebuck and I believe it's Comrie's their backup. It is a huge drop off. But here in Edmonton, Calvin Pickard has given them an excellent first 40-some games to the season. Struds, as a player, you knew when your backup was in. If you had a backup that was a little shaky, you knew going into the game this one might be a tough one. I'm guessing the players in the Oilers dressing room have just as much confidence in Calvin Pickard as they do in Stuart Skinner.
Block everything. That was the chant through the whole dressing room when we had a backup. If we block everything, we got a chance of winning 2-1, guys. I think that what I love about him is he gives the team a chance to win every night, right? And he makes some good saves. He's made some good saves for sure. But just give us a chance, right? Just give us a chance. And then what he's even done past that is he's won games for them, which I don't expect from my backup goaltender, whether I'm a player, a coach, or a fan. Like, that's a real bonus. And he has done that. So he is trending in a great direction here for the Oilers, provides stability, and from all reports, just a great backup goalie that stands in there and takes a shot from the forward tee after practice from all the guys who want to drop bombs on him.
Yeah, he does. He's willing, man. He grinds, because the Oilers have some guys that practice deep into the day. Like, that's the one thing. They got some guys that, and Pickard is often the one that's got to just grind out there with them. I feel terrible. I'm driving, so I can't check my notes. So, Zuby, maybe you can grab it, or I don't know if either of you guys have it, but the name of the netminder from the U of A that had a pretty cool day today and ends up on the bench backing up. Pretty neat
Tyler.
Experience
Palmer.
to go through something like that.
Yeah. Tyler Palmer. Yeah. Played in the Western League last year, then joined the team today. And what a great moment for a guy to get up there and play that. You never know. you always want to have the dream of playing the NHL. Well, he got his chance. I saw what it's like. Now, will he get another chance? I don't know. I mean, he's by all reports, he's playing well at U of A. But I used to love it when guys would get called up and in those situations and get a chance to play with us for a game.
Like fantasy camp a little bit, Brownie. Just a great opportunity, pretty cool for him. And Calvin Pickard said after the game he was a heck of a good soccer player in their pregame soccer. I guess he went in there and dominated. So that's aggressive from the new guy, but apparently he got everybody's attention pretty early on. Okay, lots more to break down from the game, guys. We'll get to maybe Corey Perry in the next segment. We will get to some observations that Struds had on Noah Philp. We'll probably talk about Evan Bouchard too. I can't see the stream, Zuby, but I imagine there's some discussion about Bouchard having a little bit of a tough night, fighting the puck here and there. It's a bigger discussion that a lot of people want us to have on a show-by-show basis. But tonight probably warrants a bit of discussion about his game, so we can get to that in the next segment as well. But for now, Struds, let's get to our relentless player, and let's get to our YouTube poll. And I'm going to be home in a couple of minutes here, so I'll leave you and Brownie to do that, and I'll join you for takeaways.
Okay, we'll see you soon, buddy. You Can Youth Services, an Edmonton charity that is relentless in providing possibility for their youth in our community. Mental health is a foundation for growth and success and the key to thriving, not just surviving. With 2 in-house counselors providing free therapy sessions, our youth have support while they navigate their struggles and rediscover their strength. Visit youcan.ca to donate today. They're a great, great charity. Brownie, you know what? Is this becoming old? Is it too many to go back to Calvin Pickard? Like I wrote down Calvin Pickard in my notes, and I wrote other names beside it, right? I wrote the PK down there beside it. I wrote Connor Brown because he kind of stayed with it, even though he had having a tough night. But is it getting old, or he's earned it? I believe he's earned it, Calvin Pickard.
I agree. And Stretch, before Corey Perry scores that goal that turned out to be the game-winning goal, Calvin Pickard made 2 huge saves. There was one by Schmaltz, I think, is 17 for the Kraken. The Oilers left him wide open for one-timer, 10 feet out, and Pickard, big save there. So Pickard was excellent in this game. They don't win this game with above-average goaltending. They did very good goaltending to win this hockey game, and Calvin Pickard did it again. He battled. In a game where the Oilers, and Mattias Janmark said it after the game, he said, we were not very good. Calvin Pickard gave us a chance, and he certainly did. So 100%, I agree with you. He was the relentless player of the night.
When we start this at the beginning of the year, I don't think that I'm going to be handing it out to the backup goalie. I think this is the second or third time already in this part of the season. Like, that's pretty impressive for the backup goalie. So give the guy credit. He's on one here. He's on a bit of a heater for this season. Okay, let's get to our YouTube poll. I mean, it's getting to that time of year. It's so nice out. We all want to get the old wrenches out and swing them around. So YouTube poll is brought to you by our buddies at DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center. Are you fired up? Yep, for the upcoming golf season. New 2025 equipment from TaylorMade, Ping, and Callaway are all arriving at DeBoer's. Get ahead of the fitting rush and schedule your appointment today. I'm sure they're getting a lot of calls. It's been so nice out. It's located at 5311 99th Street in Edmonton. So, Zub, what do you got for this one? I'm very interested in where people take the results of this one.
Okay, there was some chatter about Victor Arvidsson tonight. Folks, not a few people on the stream not really loving him. We kind of skewed this idea in a slightly different direction, which is talking about which player you for sure want to be in the top 6. So that's when the playoffs begin. So let's the question is, which player do you for sure want to be in the Oilers' top 6 forwards when the playoffs begin? The choices are Arvidsson, Podkolzin, Evander Kane, or new guy. Is there somebody else who's going to still come in at the deadline and make a difference up there in that top 6?
Brownie, what do you got?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm going to say new guy. I just think it's exciting if we get a new guy that plays in the top 6, and if you do, all of a sudden you move some players down. Like tonight, Podkolzin and Arvidsson, they were their third line with Henrique. All of a sudden, now that's your third line. So yeah, I'm going to go with new guy, hoping that the Oilers can find some magic at the trade deadline.
I'm going to sewer Zuby here. Skinner's not even in the list. We couldn't make it 5 options. Zoops. Like, is he? So I'm just kidding. But, I think, guys, that tells us where he is at with the Oilers. We're 50 games deep into this season. And I think I could count on one hand how many opportunities he's had in the top six, right? It's been, so he's not even an option. And I'll be interested if people write him in, because I don't know at this point, Brownie, I think maybe it's too late.
Well, I think it is too late. I mean, he's healthy scratched. He's been healthy scratched more times than he's been in the top six this year.
Yeah.
So I honestly, I would be shocked, absolutely shocked, if he is still with the team after the trade deadline. I really would be. I think maybe he opens up a little salary cap. Maybe he can find someone else coming back that fits what the Oilers need more. But I mean, he's not even a thought for this team anymore. And they're going to get Evander Kane back. That'll push him further down. Even if they get a depth player at the deadline, that'll push Skinner further back. So I would be really shocked if he's still an Oiler come the day after the trade deadline.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that, Zuby, with I'm sure there'll be a lot of write-in votes as well as which top six forward the Oilers should trade for now that they have Klingberg.
Yeah, that's the one too. There are some write-in votes. Somebody did say Skinner, but it was followed by an LOL. So I think they were joking on that front. But yeah, if you tell us, we can play with that a little bit too. Tell us who new guy you would want to be. If you voted new guy, especially, who do you want it to be? Let us know in the chat.
Just a quick mention: John Klingberg did not play today. We're dealing with some immigration issues, so he may play the rest of the week, according to head coach Chris Knobloch. All right, let's step out here quickly. When we come back, we'll talk about something I noticed on the PK. Brownie dropped a bomb on the pod, and Shogger's been talking about the insight he gave. So I'm one-upping him big time next here on the pod. Stay with me.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at secolandentistry.com.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
You got me, Zuby? Am I back?
We got you loud and clear.
Okay.
I figured something out.
I thought maybe.
I figured something out actually
thought...
last night with that.
What's that?
I figured something out last night with this one little thing we've had switching you from the car to back in here. I think I got it dialed now. I think we're good.
You got it sorted?
I think so, yeah.
Smoother transition back into the house. I love it. All right, time now for takeaways, brought to you by Horizon Ag and Turf, your one-stop shop for all things snow removal, and they are clearing out their Arians walk-behind snow blowers. Starting at only $599, be ready to tackle whatever Mother Nature throws at us this winter. Visit your local Horizon Ag and Turf dealership today in Edmonton and surrounding area. Struds has had some help from Horizon Ag and Turf with some snow removal the last couple of months. Struds, you gifted something, did you not? Or did you buy something for yourself, or ended up with a blower?
It was a bit of a mixed bag. A steel blower. Steel. You have to get the name right. This thing blows everything, guys. I'm blowing the roof off my neighbor's house. Sorry, not the roof, the snow off my neighbor's house. It's so good. I strap this thing on, and I'm blowing everything out there. I love it. It's so good. And you get into, like, I got aggregate concrete, so it gets in the cracks and gets it out. I look great. I love this thing. It's a great purchase.
You guys both heard that. Clip that for his Struddy's World intro, Zuby. That little 5 words there.
It's very good.
Very, very good. Okay, so Brownie, you heard Strud say it last segment. So Struds and I had a meeting, and we were discussing all things about the company, all things about Got Your Back, and Brownie, your name came up, and it might have been mentioned.
Oh, that was nice.
You had. Yeah, did you miss the invite? But it might have come up that
I haven't checked my email today.
Yeah, okay. You might have had one of the most poignant, sharpest pieces of analysis, very subtle thing the other day that you picked out. And I said to Struds, I'm not going to lie to you, buddy. That was really good analysis. And we're going to need a little more of that out of you. And so he's trying super hard today, and he thinks he's got something. I like what he picked up here today, but understand this is an effort for him to pull back into at least a tie with you in terms of depth of subtle, smart, intelligent analysis, Struddy.
Yeah, guys, I'm bridging.
Well, there's a lot of pressure on him, though, Strud.
Yeah.
Strud, there's a lot of pressure on you because you used to be the funny guy, but we found out last night from Rantanen that you're not. So now you've got to be smarter.
Oh, boy.
Brownie, I scored in front of 20,000 people in a shootout. I know and thrive under pressure. I'm not worried about it at all.
Yeah. It's okay to neither be funny nor that smart, right, guys? There's a place for someone like that on this show, isn't there? I hope.
Yeah.
Yep, the host.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Brownie, you had the great analysis the other day that even on a 6-on-4, that the other team's defense didn't have to change after a minute of defending because the Oilers weren't putting that much pressure, and how rare that was. Struds and I were impressed with that analysis. Struds, you noticed something on Noah Philp, right? We're keeping a close eye on Noah Philp, right? We know Derek Ryan is in the minors. We're watching this player's development. The team is watching this player's development, wondering, what do they have here? Do they need a fourth-line center? Is that on the to-do list at trade deadline? So we're monitoring him. What do you see?
So, we've talked to the last 4 games, they haven't been scored in the power play. Or there hasn't been a power play goal against. I think that's a bit misleading. Last game, there was a goal scored seconds after the player came out of the bench or out of the box.
Right. Yep.
And Phillips can get some PK time here and there. He's been getting it. And on this particular occasion, it was to the right of the netminder. He lost the faceoff. And then 15, seconds later, it's in the back of the net. Now, it didn't qualify as a PK goal, but it essentially was because the player wasn't able to get back. I think it was Hyman, wasn't able to get back into the zone yet. So today, they had many chances to kill penalties, and he didn't get the tap. So, is it just circumstance where he didn't get to go out there? Did they just say, okay, we're going to pause a second, keep his confidence, and put him out again maybe next game against the Red Wings? I'm not sure, but to me, I was a bit surprised in so many opportunities they didn't put him out there again, because the way you do it is just keep putting guys out there and hoping they're able to rise to the occasion. And I know it's one specific instance, but when you're dealing with specific moments, the PK, Brownie, it matters.
It does matter, and that is a great analysis, my friend. The fact that he wasn't out there, because that would be why you would have him as your fourth line center. You like the size difference between him and Ryan. He's the right-handed centerman, winning faceoffs, but you've got to find minutes for guys that are playing on your fourth line. Kapanen will kill. Kapanen moves up and down the lineup with Leon or Connor. Perry they'll find on the second power play unit, and at times you'll see him move up and down the lineup, usually with Leon. Well, Noah Philp's not really going to move up the lineup because they double shift Connor, they double shift Leon, so it's hard to find him more minutes if he's not penalty killing. So it's a great find, because if he wasn't penalty killing against a terrible power play like Seattle,
yeah,
you're thinking, well, if you're trying to give him confidence, that's when you give him confidence. So I don't know. We're having a hard time finding what you get from Noah Philp, because we're not seeing a whole lot of Noah Philp.
Yeah, fair point. Chief Andy says Philp is a solid fourth-line center. Tough on the puck, fast, and decent hockey sense for a younger lad. I think he's 26-ish. I don't know if we'll call him young necessarily, but young in terms of time spent in the National Hockey League for sure. I like what I've seen so far, you guys. He hasn't had that moment yet where you're like, oh, something amazing happened for him, and there it is. You know, he had the nice feed the other day. That was good. But, you know, you want to see him. He needs to have a few good things happen to maybe start feeling it a little bit more. But I would say overall, he's about what I expected him to be. And there was a back-to-back shifts. Third line went out, fourth line went out. And in a matter of like, I don't know, maybe 30 or 40 seconds, Struds, like Adam Henrique threw a nice hit. And then Kapanen went in on a forecheck and he threw a nice hit. And then Philp went in on a forecheck and he threw the body. Janmark did. And it was like, okay, there's speed, there's size. And when these guys do decide to really get hitting, they've got guys that can do it. And Philp can do that as well.
Yeah, I want to challenge you a little bit. I don't know that he's here to do something that kind of makes your eyebrow raise, unless it's win face-off, kill penalties, and be physical. Like that, to me, those are the things, you know, they've got enough eyebrow raisers for the Instagram. So I think his game has to be quite muted, actually, as far as what he does, and just be doing what he can on the PK and what he's brought here to do. Because if you're not sure about him on the PK, that probably means at the trade deadline, someone else is arriving. And it's hard. It's hard to judge someone in, you know, how many games he's going to have if he plays them all, Shogger, 15 or whatever before the trade deadline, maybe let's say around there, plus or minus. You know, try to judge someone. Can we trust this guy in game 7 of the third round on a faceoff in our own zone? That's a pretty big ask.
Yeah. And just to clarify, and Brownie, you can hop in on this. I'm not suggesting that the expectation is for him to be having these big moments or anything like that. I'm just saying when a guy's new to the league and he's trying to find his footing, you're having steady shifts, and you're not necessarily making big mistakes, which is good. But at some point, you know, some things happen for you, and I imagine it builds your confidence, right? Some great offensive looks or just a few sort of positive momentum type things so that it's not just like decent shift after decent shift, but you're not really feeling it in that way. Like, I might be able to contribute. I might be able to find it. Hasn't necessarily had some of that, Brownie.
Yeah, I agree. But I also agree with Strud. If he's not on your penalty kill, he won't be playing your fourth line center come playoff time. He just won't. They'll find someone else to do that. Derek Ryan would go out and take face-offs on your penalty kill, and they had faith in him doing that. So Noah Philp, to me, has to be a penalty killer, or he's just going to be on the bench the whole day. So you're going to find someone else that can contribute in another way. He's still trying to earn the trust of the coaching staff. The one thing I have noticed, and he's not afraid to be physical and not afraid to be physical against anybody. He'll go after, he threw a couple, or tried to throw a couple checks on Quinn Hughes the other night. So that you like, the fact he's got speed, the fact he's got size, but to me, he has to be a penalty killer if you don't want to find someone different at the trade deadline.
Yeah. Okay, we have not yet discussed a flip-flop between Adam Henrique and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. So Henrique gets a look with Arvidsson and Podkolzin on what would generally be considered the team's second line up into the top 6, while Nugent-Hopkins goes in the other direction and ends up on the third line with Janmark and Brown. 14 and change for Nugent-Hopkins tonight, Struds. Similar minutes for Adam Henrique. What do you make of the swap? Why do you think they did this?
Well, I'm going to double down on a comment I made a while ago. I think he's trying to keep it fresh for the guys. Try to keep it interesting. We're in the dog days. You walk in, you see the board, you're like, oh, wow. That's a surprise, especially with the captain coming back. You think maybe you're going to split up the big guys. So I honestly, Brownie, I think it's about keeping it fresh. Keep the guys kind of on their toes about who they're going to play with.
Well, I think, first of all, I disagree a little bit with Schauger. I think Nugent-Hopkins is the second line, and Henrique was the third one. And the minutes show that. As Nugent-Hopkins' line mates got more ice time in the game. I don't know if it was penalty killing or not, but I think that they're just trying out different looks to see, come playoff time, if we put Leon and Connor together, what is our best availability? Arvidsson and Podkolzin, again, they work hard, but they don't produce. I like the fact that Nugent-Hopkins has a nice play to Brown, although I was a little disappointed he didn't one-time it. and then you thought the play was lost. But give Janmark credit; he went to the net. So I think they're just trying to find offense out of somebody other than Connor and Leon when Connor and Leon play together. So he's just mixing and matching to see, okay, you know what, we're playing a Seattle team tonight. We should be able to beat them with Connor and Leon playing on the same line. Where can we go in the playoffs if we have to go nuclear? And he just was getting a look-see here tonight. So it's all, right now to me, it's evaluations and auditions for the 83rd game of the season. And tonight, this was the lineup you wanted to check out.
11:36 at even strength for Adam Henrique, 11:35 for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins at even strength. So we're kind of both right. It was kind of, they cut it pretty close here, and they cut it pretty even. Connor McDavid draws back in Struds. The last time he missed 3 games earlier this year, he went pointless in his return and then rattled off 11 in his next 4. But I got to tell you, I was down at the rink earlier today, and we interviewed McDavid, and he was all business. Like, he was all business. You could tell he was dialed in all business. So what did you think of him tonight, Struddy?
He loves to play hockey, right? He loves to play. You know, yeah, he's got all these things going on for himself, but he loves to play the game. I thought he was pretty good. I mean, I don't think anyone on the team really dropped it into, you know, the highest of gears. You know, he scored the goal. A bit of a weird rebound, Brownie. Maybe you can comment on that. But I thought he was good. But I think there's another good for him and the whole team, Brownie.
Yeah, I agree. The goal that he scored, the puck comes off his stick so fast that it hit Joey Daccord. Daccord didn't save it; it hit him, but it hit him so fast he had no idea where the puck went, and then he just started flailing around, and it came back to Connor. The puck usually follows the best player. He puts it in the empty net. But that was the rebound went there because Daccord couldn't play it because it was so quickly off the stick of McDavid. I just love the fact that McDavid's first game in a week, first game after three games up with the suspension, his first shift was 2.5 minutes long. He started the game. They got the power play. They went off the ice at 17:30. So 2.5 minutes he was on to start his return to the Oilers. I agree with you, Struts. He was okay. He had some jump early. And then, just like the rest of the team, it was just a kind of game for Connor and his line mates. But as Schauger just said, it wasn't the first game back the last time where he started to dominate. It was game 2, which is good because the Oilers go up in weight class the next 2 games, and they will need Connor McDavid and Leon and Hyman and the rest of the team at their A game for the Detroit Red Wings.
Boy, did he ever get a call early in the game. Hey, boys? That first one?
Oh,
did you see it the same way I did? Like, oh, boy. And then they didn't get another one for the rest of the game. Yeah. Like, it was just – I feel like the refs went in there and looked at that one. Not that he dove. He didn't. But it was just like, oh, boy, yeah. Someone was paying attention to media availabilities, it would seem. Gordy Parch says he should have had 3 points. Dry missed the open net. And Hyman hit the crossbar. How about Leon Draisaitl, top goal scorer in the game? Back-to-back shots, missed open nets, right? The empty net at the end of last game, and then his first shot tonight, the one-timer, I think he put it off the post. Wide open net.
It happens. Yeah. It happens to the best of them. I mean, the empty net one, that one is shocking. The one-timer, that's a tough. It's funny, from where we sit, Schauger, I thought he scored. It was a bomb that was in and out so fast. I thought he scored, just like the Hyman one. I thought he scored because it was in and out so fast. But, it's one of those ones, good. We missed the one tonight when we didn't need it. We need it next game, or we need it Saturday against Toronto. But, yeah, it's rarely do you see, and that net was so open because Joey Daccord had no idea where the puck was. That Leon actually could have stopped it and shot it. He's not going to, but that's how wide open the net was. But even the great ones miss empty nets occasionally, and Leon Draisaitl's missed in back-to-back games.
All right, that was Takeaways brought to you by Horizon Ag and Turf. Brownie, do you have any brownie points for Corey Perry? Because we've not talked about Corey Perry yet, though I feel like you're going to have some brownie points for him.
Yes, I do. I've got
Okay.
I got a long stretch. Yeah.
Okay, so we will follow up brownie points with a bit of a discussion on Corey Perry and maybe hear from him in the Weiss Johnson soundbox as well. So brownie points, Struddy's World, take a lap, take a trip. We got so much show left, so stay with us here on Got Your Back and throw us a like if you don't mind as we head to break.
With over 18 years in the industry, Kelly Zaretsky and her team at Blue Summit Accounting deliver client-focused solutions and financial guidance for success in a simple and comfortable way. Whether it's for corporate or personal needs, Blue Summit Accounting can help with taxes, estate planning, financial services, bookkeeping, and more. Get in touch today. Email bluesummitacct@gmail.com or call 780-416-9662.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
At HSE Core, we are dedicated to providing unparalleled safety compliance services to small and medium-sized businesses through our monthly health and safety program management, including managing contractor screening registries and core auditing services. Let HSE Core Services help you maintain a safe workplace for you and your valued employees. Visit us at hsecore.com.
All right, the NHL trade deadline is coming up, so who might be taking a trip? Let's find out, courtesy Alberta Blue Cross. And if you're planning a trip, by the way, if it's a dream vacation, a winter escape, watch your Oilers play, wherever, don't forget travel insurance. Alberta Blue Cross has your back with emergency medical care, cancellations, lost baggage, and more. Flexibility, reliability, even lounge access. How about a hotel maybe if the delay is too much? Sounds great. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel to learn more. Struds, we're getting our money's worth out of the Buffalo Sabres visit, because we're going to focus on a potential blue liner that might be taking a trip.
Well, much like Dylan Cousins, there's a lot of discussion around the Sabres and maybe reshuffling the deck and looking to change the look of when I hear that kind of talk, because there's quite a bit of talent in there. So Bowen Byram was a guy that we remember from Colorado. They got him, played in the playoffs, played well, got a Stanley Cup, and he was traded for Casey Middlestad, which kind of made sense. He had quite a few D, and then they needed a center, so they kind of made the switch. But Bowen, I believe, in the Sabres, there's quite a few players already youngish, high octane defensemen. Rasmus Dahlin, and of course Owen Power, who we talked about too. So these three guys, there's only so many pucks out there, so he doesn't really get on the power play. It kills some time, but 5-on-5, he's on the right side. Like he's scoring, or his lines are scoring more than when he's getting scored on. So that is a really good step in the right direction. Now they've had him for quite a while. No one has signed him to an extension, or there's talks about it. I'm not sure, but I would really hesitate to move this youngish player out unless I knew exactly what I was getting and what I needed in that trade. So I find Buffalo fascinating because I think they're better than they're showing. We saw him here the other night with the Oilers, but Brownie, Bowen Byram, I'd be concerned about moving him right now.
The problem I found for Bowen Byram, and you just talked about it, he's a power play guy. He's a highly skilled defenseman. And one of the reasons that the Colorado Avalanche moved him is, well, they got Makar. And Makar plays their whole power play. So poor Bowen Byram, he's like, well, he's redundant there. And then when I saw the Buffalo game the other night where Owen Power got the second power play unit, and I'm like, wow, Bowen Byram doesn't get to play in either unit. Why have him on your team? So to me, I'm the opposite. I move him because you're not using him in the right position. He's not given a chance to have success. I think he's a wonderful hockey player, and any team that gets him, he's a guy that can run a power play. And in Buffalo, he's not getting a chance. So to me, it's, if I'm Buffalo, why you traded for a guy that you're not using to his strengths makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it always felt like a bit of an odd fit. And the difference, like Brownie, we talked about Cousins the other night and the danger in moving this player. His name is out there, but I don't they don't got a pile of people that are going to be able to do what he can do. The thing here on the blue line is they got other people that are there specifically to do exactly what Byram is a specialist at. So to me, Struds, it's a little bit less of a cautionary tale for me because they have some of what he brings. They've got other guys. And in fact, you could argue that, I mean, those guys, for them to blossom properly and for them to become what they want them to be, like, what do you need Byram there for? In some ways, maybe they're feeling like, so Darlene, you've got me and you go grab this guy. Like, why do they need that kind of guy there for? So it almost feels like he's kind of in the way a little bit. They have that already.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I guess moving him now, when you're only so many teams can make that move, I'd be very concerned. When I look at the track record, some of the moves that have been made by this administration.
Off-season deal, maybe. Yeah.
I can't tell you. I just would not want anything to happen right now if I'm a Sabres fan. Just hold on to everything, and then revisit everything in that whole franchise in the once the season's over and whatever we got.
Well,
a couple more months.
Bowen Byron wants to get traded because everyone Buffalo trades goes and wins a Stanley Cup the next year. So he wants to move somewhere right now.
There you go. Well, we will see if Bowen Byram is potentially taking a trip. Okay, as we roll the happy music, let's get to our brownie points for the night, brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. It's available in 13 tantalizing flavors. Did you know that? Family owned and operated since 1962. Did you know that? Great game day snack can be shipped to you anywhere in Alberta. Free shipping Alberta-wide in January on all orders over $55. So hop onto albertajerky.com, order yours, and enter the code GOTYOURBACK for an additional 10% off. We'll give Corey Perry some love here in Brownie Points.
Well, let's first start with some love for Dominic Shine. He gets 462 brownie points. 31-year-old Detroit native played his first ever National Hockey League game tonight for his hometown Detroit Red Wings after 462 games in Grand Rapids. It's a nice story, guys. 31, finally makes it to the National Hockey League. He's born in Detroit. He played junior hockey in Detroit, played university hockey in Michigan, plays in Michigan for the Grand Rapids Griffins, and then gets his first game tonight in Detroit. Good on him. Finally, he talked about his family and friends and everyone that was part of the ride. So that is an awesome experience for that young man. 3 brownie points for Connor McDavid. He said he was antsy sitting out watching during his 3-game suspension. Surprise, surprise, first game back, Connor McDavid scores. Wasn't his best game of the season, but it certainly helped when you win a 1-goal game and your best player comes back and scores in his first game. I got minus 100 brownie points to Seattle Kraken power play coach. That was an embarrassing power play. 0 for 4, 0 shots on their 5-on-3. Couldn't get the puck in when they were trying to. They kept doing the same thing over and over and over. That was a horrible, horrible power play by the Seattle Kraken and a big reason that they lost this hockey game tonight. I got 44 brownie points to me because I've come up with a great way to advertise Got Your Back. You guys ready? We are going to be so famous. We're going to go to Connor and Leon, and we are going to put Got Your Back on their mouth guards because they both play the entire game with their mouth guards hanging out of their mouths. So if you get Got Your Back, they're always on camera. So it'll just be Got Your Back, Got Your Back. I don't understand why they wear them. Like they showed one shift for Connor McDavid. It was hanging out. He passed the puck twice to Hyman in front with this whole mouth guard hanging out. I don't understand it. Schauger, ask them why they wear mouth guards, because they don't use them for the protection of the teeth. And my final one, I got 10 brownie points to Corey Perry. He played 10 minutes tonight. In the last week, Corey Perry has contributed to wins by taking a punch to nullify a power play, antagonized an entire team and city for tossing Quinn Hughes to the ice. He scored against Washington. He set up a goal against Vancouver, scores the game-winning goal tonight. On a team where he primarily gets fourth-line minutes, only 4 forwards on the entire team. The 4 power play forwards have more goals than his 9. Points. Corey Perry is 17, Podkolzin 19, Arvidsson 16, Janmark 15, Brown 20, Kapanen 10. All get more ice time. All play top 6 minutes. Corey Perry, primarily a fourth-line guy, has 9 goals on the season and 17 points. He's got gamemanship. He fights, he hits, he antagonizes. A lot of people were wondering at the beginning of the year whether it was a good signing or not. And Is he only going to play 40 games? He can't play back-to-back games. Are he and Ryan going to, go in and out of the lineup for each other? I can't imagine a game where Corey Perry isn't in there because he has such a positive influence on each and every game that he plays. And those, Schauger, are my brownie points.
All right, that should springboard into some more Corey Perry conversation. We probably should have had it in the first segment tonight, Strud. Have you ever seen a guy that well? I mean, that was wide open. And credit to Darnell Nurse, who, by the way, was playing sick tonight on a real nice pass up the ice.
Yeah, that was a really bad change. I believe that the other D-man was changing because Alexiak kind of had his hands up like, hey, what the hell? And he looks like the bad guy skating all the way back there with his partners trying to get back in there too. But I really liked his game is just there. It's always there. And I loved what the coach Knobloch said. He said, he's not the fastest guy, but he's very smart. And that's like massive amounts of hockey IQ, Brownie, massive amounts. If you're a young player, watch him because he just gets where to go and how to make the game come to him.
I think we talked about it a couple podcasts. So he doesn't make mistakes out there. He doesn't throw the puck away. If he gets the puck on the boards, he always gets it out. If he gets to the red line, he looks. If there's no one there, he dumps the puck in. And when he dumps it in with a mission. Like, it's not like I have to shoot the puck in. I got a winger going over there. I'm going to throw it in that one. Oh, I want my winger to hit that defenseman, so I'm going to lob it up high. He doesn't have the speed that he had before. But when you have a blue line to blue line head start, he's going to win that race on the breakaway. And what he still has is hands. I had a couple buddies text me, how can the goaltender go to poke check him? Well, he left a little 5-hole. Most players don't hit that. A 50-goal scorer hits that. And Corey Perry, that was a great shot. That was a great shot by Corey Perry. He's been excellent. I don't know if there's been a night where we sat at the end of the night go, didn't see much out of Perry. He gives you something every single night. And I thought on that breakaway, he read the play. He just read, okay, you know what? We're about to get the puck. I am going to stand at the blue line. And credit to Darnell Nurse. That was an exceptional pass. He looked at McDavid. He was about to go to McDavid and then peripheral vision. Oh, wait a second. There's Corey Perry. And stick to stick. So a really nice play by Nurse, but a fantastic finish by Perry.
Did we end up with Corey Perry post-game sound, Zuby?
We do. We have him. We also have Janmark talking about him.
Okay. Well, let's roll them both since we got Corey Perry brownie points as a focus tonight.
All right, let's go with Janmark first.
I feel like obviously, like he's won the scoring titles in this league. He's not the same player anymore, but he's really found a way the last couple of years playing on really good teams and having an impact. And obviously, you give him a scoring chance like that today, and he's still the same player that he was. So, yeah, it's impressive.
And here's Perry talking about what this team looks like when they're playing well.
A lot of north, and we're playing north and playing with the puck, and we had some shifts where we were cycling the puck well and moving around and get shots, and that's our game, and it's when we go rogue and go off script is when we tend to start losing things, and I thought tonight we did everything we needed to do to get 2 points.
Real solid night, solid week. Brownie, I love your point to all the different ways that he's found to contribute to wins. That's exactly why he is here. That is precisely why he is here. And I think a lot of us are impressed that it wasn't just a one-year thing here. He's when that other year was announced, I think everybody kind of went, oh, okay, that feels okay. I wonder what they'll be able to get from him. And it has just been fantastic. Great edition of Brownie Points brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. Time for Struddy's World. Roll the animation.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
Gotta look good.
Yes, it is time for Struddy's World, brought to you tonight by DLR Vinyl Products. So they've got locations in Calgary and in Edmonton. If you're a contracting business or a contractor, give DLR a call. Let them help you add vinyl fence to your product line. You know the people want it. You got to bring it. Reliable, unmatched service, high-quality North American-made products. It's just great product. No sanding, no staining. Once it goes in, it stays in. Vinyl is the way to go, folks. If you can do it, visit dlrvinylproducts.ca. Struds, what is our topic tonight?
Tyler Palmer, the E-Bug goalie for the Edmonton Oilers. I got some texts about it. People, my buddies, wondering, hey, does this guy get paid? And my understanding is that they sign an amateur tryout agreement, but they don't get paid at all. But what happens, and we had this happen with when I played the Oilers, we all chip in some money. And I want to say we all threw in like $100, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, whatever. And he got that cash. He got a jersey, and I think maybe a stick or something from, our best player. So I gave him one, obviously, but it was, so that's kind of how it works. And the guys are really appreciative. The energy you feel when a guy comes in like that, because for them, they haven't even been on your team ever. They've never been there. And for that moment, for him to come in and you see the nerves in their face, like I love it. I thought it was such a cool thing. I only remember it happened to me one time with the Oilers, no other team, but I thought that was a great moment for everyone to share along with, the backup, and in this case, Tyler Palmer.
Isn't it a little different though tonight? Because he's not the E-Bug. Because there would have been an E-Bug in the building. Would he not have been? Because he signed an amateur contract, which means he can't get paid. But there was also would have been an E-Bug up in the press box that would have played if any of the other goaltenders got hurt in the game. So I think it's just a little bit different than an E-Bug.
But they don't get paid.
Isn't that the point you're making, Struds? Like that's the point you're making is that you chip in or whatever.
Yeah. You can call it whatever you want, but they're not getting paid, right? So it's always the chip. No. It's always the cash that the guys paid. I'm sure that the guys did it today. I mean, I'm guessing because it's just you want to let them know you appreciate their time, right?
Yeah, and I think to me the biggest thing would be the jersey. Like the little cash would be fun. Yeah. But getting a jersey that you wore on the bench for an Edmonton Oilers hockey game, that would be pretty cool.
So it was a couple years ago, almost 2 years to the day, where Matt Berlin went in. Remember? The Oilers threw him in at the end of the game to give him an opportunity. There was some talk after about I think, was it against Chicago that they were playing? I think it might have been Chicago. Do you guys remember?
I can't remember the game, but they were winning by quite a bit in the game. They had extended the lead.
Threw him in. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. I'm just looking to see January 28th. Oh, it doesn't say who they were playing against, but anyways, and that was interesting. Not enough of a lead to do something similar tonight, but some of the real good stories that we've seen over the years come from those situations. So cool for him, and and congratulations to the Skinners, by the way. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, special night.
All right, that was Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. Okay, Brownie, we are going to spring you, my friend. Next podcast, we look forward to chatting with you, will be Wednesday night. Oilers have a couple of days of practice. They don't play again until Thursday, but we'll dig in on Wednesday night. Maybe talk a little bit, look ahead to trade deadline. What do the Oilers actually really need? Has that discussion changed in the last month or so? So, Brownie, you can get to work on your homework for that show.
Sounds good. See you guys.
All right. See you, pal. That is Rob Brown. Okay, Zuby, before we get to our last break, let's squeeze in another segment. I want to keep talking about some blue liners. We just talked about Bowen Byram, but let's get to our core blue line segment, brought to you by HSE Core Services. If you're a small to medium-sized business, they've got your back when it comes to health and safety compliance, creating and managing tailored health and safety programs that meet all legislation and core requirements. HSE Core supports clients' operations every step of the way. Visit www.hsecor.com. Struts.
Jimmy Alexiak. He's a monster. You can't miss him out there. He's always the biggest guy on the ice everywhere you go. And he's famous because his sister is an incredible swimmer for Canada. But he's a really big human. Physical, penalty killer. I mean, he and Larson basically kill the penalties for that team. It makes a lot of sense. But there's some, maybe there's some talk around that Seattle's trying to maybe look at changing up the way that they're looking. Maybe he's a guy that might toggle free. Yeah. I'm not sure I really understand that, because to me, he's a guy that's perfect to play with a Bowen Byram, right? Or a Brandon Montour. He is underwater though with his 5-on-5 play. He's taken on a lot of goals against rather than the other way. But the one thing when I watched him tonight, I have watched him other games, I'd like to see him be more physical. I think that I look back, I want to say when he was with Dallas and he played in the playoffs, he was quite physical with that group. And I want to see that Jamie Oleksiak, because I think he intimidates and takes up a lot of space and keeps people out of those key areas of the ice, which is the middle of the ice and around the net. So I think he's lost some of that. And maybe when you're on playoff team, it's not quite the same, but that'd be my suggestion. Get a little bit of edge back in your game.
Yeah, just taking a look here to see where he's coming in. So his hits per 60. Is that right? He's played 51 games this year, and he's at 2.43 hits per 60. Oof. For a guy that size, that is, that's what it's at, man. He's got 39 hits this season, Struds, in 1851 on average per game for a big guy, big, strong guy. Like he's not a big lanky dude either. Like he's pretty put together.
He is. And, so I didn't know those numbers, but I've watched him play and I've seen this from him, right? Like you need to bring that edge. I think Larson, he when he's doing it, looks good. When Oleksiak does it, Vince Dunn plays a bit of bite to his game on tour. You know what we're going to get from him. But yeah, so Jamie, he's got 1 year after this year left on his deal. And, maybe they want to change it. I don't know what Seattle wants to do, but I know that I would want him playing with more edge to his game consistently.
100%. Yeah. I wonder if you throw him into a playoff series, maybe he'd be able to find it, Maybe he would, because he can do it. Like he's done it before. And I think, some guys, they just get into a little bit of a lull. So be interesting to see if somebody goes and grabs Oleksiak this year. That was our Core Blue Liners, brought to you by HSE Core Services. All right, when we come back, another chapter in the Rantanen trade to Carolina. He had some comments, not sure if you heard them, but shedding some more light into that situation. Struds and I'll beat that around a little bit in Take a Lap, and then we've got Ask Us Anything as well. Stay with us. Thinking of that dream vacation? A quick winter escape? Well, flight delays are dreadful. Hospital visits, not fun. Alberta Blue Cross gives you coverage for emergency medical care, cancellations, and lost baggage. Flexibility, reliability, even lounge access or a hotel if the delay is too much. Plus 24/7 travel support ensures you're never left out in the cold. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel to learn more.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
All right, time now to take a couple of laps, brought to you by Acon. If you're a skilled tradesperson or construction professional looking for work in Western Canada, they want to hear from you. One of Canada's original industrial contractors, building some of the largest multi-year industrial projects in Western Canada. You can be part of it. They're looking for skilled tradespeople and construction professionals to join the Acon team. Check them out. If you have a resume, send it to trades@acon.com. That is trades@acon.com if you are looking for work. Okay, Struds, I was going to call up the quotes, and I forgot to grab them when I got home. So bottom line, Mikko Rantanen did an interview with Peter Baugh of The Athletic. And I'll sort of paraphrase some of what was said in there. And this, just a monstrous trade, basically making the point that he did not realize that they were in such a rush. He didn't know that it was kind of at DEFCON, whatever you get traded at, whatever DEFCON you get traded at, that he was willing to take significantly less than market value, and that they had talked recently and that he did not realize that they were in the rush that they were in. Then you couple that with Nate McKinnon, after the trade, after the loss to Boston, just like gut punch, like, boo, no idea. I can't help but say, Struds, this whole thing is starting to feel like, if you're going to trade a player like Rantanen, like, do you do everything in your power to make sure that you've turned over every stone to make sure? And you add all this up, and I just wonder, did they?
So he made a quote to a Finnish newspaper, Mikko Rantanen, and said, "I don't want to talk exact numbers, but I was willing to take a significant cut below my market value." So what's significant? 10%, 50? I don't know what it is. But I feel that what I would have done if I was a GM, I would have gone to him and said, "Mikko, this is the number we want to get you in at. This is the number. You have until whatever date. We have a trade up here ready, or we're going to move you. If you don't get this signed, we're going to move you because this is what we want to get you for. We love you. We think you're great. But this is like you have an Alamo type situation, Schauger." And I cannot believe they didn't have an Alamo type situation with Mikko Rantanen. He is such a good player. He is such a great player. So I don't know. It just, something doesn't add up, Schauger. Something does not add up between the conversations from the GM, Mikko Rantanen, Nathan McKinnon. Those three, it doesn't jive. It doesn't make sense.
So, okay. Here would be my question. Like, I just don't know if you can over-communicate in this situation. So Mikko Rantanen says, "I was ready to take significant discount from my market value. We had some chats a couple of days before, and then they traded me. That's what happened. That's why I didn't expect it. I didn't know we were in a rush. That's what I felt. That's my honest opinion. It's a business. I understand. They're trying to think what's best for them." The part that stuns me is when he said, "I didn't know we were in such a rush," right? So I guess what I'm wondering is if you're the Avs, do you not go to him and say, or his agent, you say, "Look, we got to talk here. This has just gotten very real. We're about to trade you. The deal is in the bag. It's done. This is the most money we can pay you on a contract. Would you like to stay and play for this much? Or we're pulling the trigger on this deal." That's literally the situation now. You make the call. Like, I don't know if that's realistic or not, Struds, but it feels like if you're going to trade a player like Rantanen, something like that has to, he can't be on the other side of it going, like, where did that come? I did not know that was going to happen.
Yeah, so your line of think is similar to what I have highlighted. And I think that I'm going to give an example. Ryan Smith crying at the airport as he walked out the city. They said, "This is the number. This is the number." And he decided that wasn't the number he could live with. So he was traded. And so that is where you're at with and with all due respect to Ryan Smith, Mikko Rantanen is even a better player. So I would go out of my way to make sure that he understood that we want to sign him to this number. If not, he was going to be traded. So what makes me wonder, if that didn't happen, did they want to trade him no matter what? That's the most logical explanation. They were trading Mikko Rantanen no matter what.
Interesting. The other thing about Colorado, too, it's been pointed out, like the cap is about to skyrocket, right? It's going up over the next couple of seasons here. They're not necessarily an organization that's going to spend to the cap every year, Struds. They are likely to be a budget team, right?
Yeah.
And so if you've got Rantanen leapfrogging McKinnon, and then you'll have Makar leapfrogging both of them. If you have three guys at that much money, just to have a competitive team, you're almost going to have to spend to the cap. And I just don't know that works in their financial model under that ownership.
And I get it. So that's, that kind of jives with my idea of they were trading him no matter what. Because they got net cash now at, what is he, at 6.5 or whatever he is. And maybe he goes up to 8 or 9, whatever he goes up. So you're saving money there. But I, as an owner, I'd have a hard time pushing this elite player out the door. I really would. Yeah. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. And I'll give, I was listening to Sarah Valley today on his pod DFO. I'll give him credit because I hadn't thought about this, but boy, did they buy high on Natchez, right? Like, it's not like he's got a history. It's not like he's got a 2-year history of putting up these kinds of numbers, or a 3-year history. You know, they bought pretty high on this player. Now, if getting next to Nate McKinnon, if he can keep pushing these kinds of numbers, and this is roughly the production from him, then fine. Good young player, and it won't cost as much as Rantanen. They definitely bought high on him. Like, where's the first-round pick and the prospect that they got, you know, as well, when you see guys like this get traded?
Yeah, the second and the fourth, buddy. Okay, well, one guy who is staying put, Logan Thompson, signed a massive deal, 6 years, extension with Washington Capitals. Reverse-handed goalie. He's had a great start to the year, and they like what they're seeing, and they committed to him. So he's now a part of that franchise for a long time, probably long after our old friend Ovi will be gone. So it's just under $6 million a year for Logan Thompson. And the reason I bring this up, obviously it's interesting, but I also, we're starting to see numbers creep in for Stu Skinner, right? Where does he fit on that scale? So I think that's worth. And then you got Swayman, others have been signing, and so you're starting to get a sense of maybe where his number might fall.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to make in the case of Thompson. I think it's getting more and more egregious that he's not on Team Canada. And it just begs the question, Struds, and Steve Dryden, the quiz master. I'm going to have him on the show here at some point when I can, because he made a good point to me the other day. Like, what is the reason they had to pick that team so far out? Like, why?
I agree.
Why did they have to do that? Like, why? Because examples like Logan Thompson, although it was ridiculous at the time, and it's just becoming more and more ridiculous, but they're just married to these decisions now. Why'd they have to do that so far ahead of time? Noah Rinsky says, Ryan, marketing. Sure, to a degree. But, hey, here's an idea. If you feel like you got to name a team a couple of months out for marketing purposes, then, name 3 lines and 5 defensemen and save your last few selections for a little bit closer. They locked themselves in.
Yeah, you're talking about some wild cards, right? So a forward, a goalie, and a D, wild cards, right? Wild cards, whatever. And I agree with you. And it's not ideal. And I think there are players that should be on it that aren't going to be on it. I think Logan is at the top of that list for Canada. I can't think of another player more worthy of being on that team based on his play this season than Logan Thompson.
Yeah, for sure. Lots of positive things happening in Washington this year. Holy smoke, Struds. What are they going to do in the playoffs? Like, what's the story going to be? Are they going to be one and done? Are they going to push through to a second or third round? Do they have the juice? Like, what's it going to be? It's one of the most fascinating stories in the league this year.
Speed. Is there speed there? That's what I'm going to be very interested to watch.
Good point by you. I like that. All right, that was Taking a Lap, brought to you by our good friends over at Acon. All right, let's get you involved. Great number on the stream tonight. We thank everybody for joining us. Time to get you involved in the conversation. Zuby, hop on in here, buddy. Ask us anything, brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies. They're an Edmonton-based independent electric wholesaler offering a wide range of products from lighting and lighting controls, wiring accessories, control and hazardous products, you name it, they will have it. Serving electrical contractors working in Alberta's oil and gas, commercial, residential, and OEM sectors. Check them out at bjelectric.ca. Much conversation about Bouchard in there, Zuby. We were going to get to some Bouchard discussion, but we haven't yet. But I imagine there's some chatter about it.
I did have something about Bouchard, but I'm going to work my way through here because I don't remember. Oh, actually, here was the one. There was certainly mention of some of his a couple of fumbles there, but Chief Andy said he thought Nurse and Kulak looked better with Connor and Leon than Ekholm and Bouch did. Fast and precise puck movement. Do you think that we'll see any more of that?
I believe that Bouchard is the best passer of the group, and I think that Connor loves that. So I believe that's why those 5 play together all the time. So no, I don't think we'll see more of that.
With that said, he's had some off nights, and he's had more off nights this year, certainly than he did through the back, 3/4 of last season. Struds, his play isn't anywhere near what it was in the postseason. And I guess the question that I have for you is, like, can you have the type of regular season that Bouchard is having? And let's say it's this for the rest of the year. And then suddenly when playoffs start, turn back into that defenseman he was in the playoffs last year. Can you do that? Can he do that? Because really, it'll erase all of the tough stuff during the regular season here if he's able to do that.
I'm looking at this break as a reset for him. He didn't make the team. His contract is still at large, but you go away for a couple of weeks and you come back and you just reset. Okay, I know I have a better level and I'm going to come and go. I think that break could be really important. So ask me this again in 5 weeks, something like that. And I want to see what it looks like. His game looks like then.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like, tough, man, some of the puck decisions. And he's kind of back to that little bit lackadaisical in his own end, kind of caught unaware at times, or some turnover stuff happening. 37 points in his 50 games. He was a point-a-game player last season during the regular season. 32 points in 25 playoff games. Just a phenomenal performance. But he's definitely fighting it. It's a contract year. Pressure's on. And quite often guys go one way or the other in contract years, Struds.
They can. Yeah. And today specifically, his puck management, when he's sharp, his passes are just nailing guys, just bang on the tape. And a couple times we saw him kind of lose it, fumble it, or fan on a pass that led to maybe not directly a great chance, but now more ozone time. I think actually one happened right before Perry's goal, if I remember correctly. I might have the timing off a bit, but either way, his passing to me is what sets him apart from other players. And when he's dialed in, his teammates love it. It's when he gives them the pass. So he's got to find that. I think this reset will be a really good time for Bouchard.
All right. Thanks for getting to that, Zuby. What else we got, buddy?
Yeah, well, let's continue. There's kind of another aspect to that too. Janias Mackay saying, fantastic win, but Bouchard has been fighting the puck so much lately. Hasn't scored a power play goal yet. If Klingberg plays well, should we give him a shot on PP1? How long does it take before that starts getting talked about if Klingberg shows up and distributes the puck the way we know that he can, Schauger?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it depends on how the power play is doing. Like, if the power play is producing and they're starting to trend back to the level even close to that the expectation is, then I think likely his spot is reasonably safe there. But if the power play is having nights where they sputter and if they struggle and he's part of it, John Klingberg absolutely at his best Leon Draisaitl said he thought Klingberg was the best offensive defenseman in the league at one point. Like, loved him. So let's wait and see. But absolutely, when he's on his game, he has that in his toolbox, Struds.
Two big things here. One, what does Klingberg look like? We got to get a few games deep before we even think about having a conversation. Is he moving well? How's he passing? Like, is he crisp? Are his shots hitting the net? Like, all of those details. And I believe he's different than Bouchard. He's not a shooter. He's more of a distributor. So does that change the look of that power play? Is that what they want? So maybe some nights I do want to change it that way, but that means Connor has to shoot more, or not that you have to tell Leon to shoot more. But I think that this there's a lot going on. So I'd hesitate to say that this is his spot if Bouchard's not going well. I think they're going to continue to work with Bouch here.
Well, and Ekholm too, right? Ekholm too, I think would probably be next in line if they were seriously thinking of making that change. You have to think that Ekholm would be probably up there. There was a question about the Hamels code. Got Your Back is the code for Hamels for that 10% off. GOTYERBACK. Got Your Back. That was Lebowski asking.
Doubling back to our nightly dose of Jeff Skinner talk, Brad Weatherick says, I do feel that Jeff Skinner has been mismanaged on this team and has not really been given a chance, but agree that his time is up. Struddy, is he mismanaged, or is everything that's happened just is it his own doing?
Well, I mean, obviously the coach doesn't feel that he's played the way he needs to play where he wants to, which is in the top six. And I said this months ago that I believe there'll be a divorce here where they come and they both realize that this hasn't worked and they'll try to find a solution for him somewhere else on a playoff team. Schauger, I just can't. I'm at a loss because I think you got to give the guy a chance. He never truly got a great chance And there's something in his game that the coach doesn't want in that top six.
Yeah, there's a confluence of events here. So Podkolzin's game got to a place where he became a real favorite, I think, in the top six. I think Draisaitl really likes playing with him because of the subtleties in his game and the hard work that he does. Those are not things that Skinner does. And so I think that there's a real leaning there towards a different guy that plays the game a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, should they have found more opportunity for him on a third line with Henrique and Brown, or Henrique and, or maybe, some Nuge time? I mean, you could definitely make that argument, but behind the scenes, like, I watched Jeff Skinner today as I was leaving the rink. He was still on the ice. Like, he was putting in the time. He's had his chin up around the locker room. Unless, behind the scenes, we're not seeing it. But to my eye, Struds, he's done all the things that you need to do in this situation to be a pro and not make yourself a problem.
Yeah, and that's what a pro does. That's a professional. That's what you do. You just keep working and eventually hope you're going to get a chance. I do believe, though, if he's here for the playoffs, he will score a big goal for the Oilers. Like, I truly feel that way.
Yep.
And maybe you just sit back and like, okay, well, we're going to hang on to it, and everyone's going to work out because he is that skilled, and he'll get one chance, or he'll maybe play 5 minutes and go into overtime, the third, fourth period, drop him in there on the line with the big guys, boom, he scores, and you walk out, and he's the hero. Everyone loves Jeff Skinner.
The wall in his own end. Like, he's got to dial it in on the wall in his own end. He's got to be good from the red line back. He's got to be as good as he's ever been to earn that time with either of those two big guys. Because, Connor and Leon can take off early the odd time. It's all good. They're supposed to, but everybody can't. And Skinner's got to understand, you got to be the safety valve, even if it doesn't come naturally to you. And I think he struggled with that.
Here's an interesting one from Dawson Nielsen saying, ask us anything. Which prospects would you not trade if you were the Oilers? He offers Sam O'Reilly, Bo Akey, Matthew Savoy. Is there someone who's in the system, who's a prospect who you'd say, man, I hope they hang on to that guy? Or do you think for putting a banner up, everybody's in play?
I don't like trading prospects. I'm sorry. If you believe in these guys, like they just lost Holloway and Broberg, they need someone to fill these shoes, right? Yeah. I don't believe that the holes for the Oilers are glaring as they were. And Klingberg could help a ton. If he truly becomes that second pairing right shot D, I'm looking at the picks I got for Broberg and because you're not trading a ton out the door. You got to look ahead. You got to continue to have someone that can play. This team has very few prospects, like a team that won multiple Stanley Cups over 3-4 years. That's not them.
Yeah, Savoy's coming in the American League too. Like reports out of there have been pretty good. We'll have another prospects report coming up in the system on Wednesday night's podcast. So we'll get you up to speed on their performances and such. I don't know, Struds, if you want to make a meaningful add to this year's team, you're going to have to dip into some of that. Like, you're going to have to. Like, that's just what the price is for good, meaningful top 6 players and top 4 defensemen in the NHL right now. You're giving up first-round picks to move the dial on your team, right?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, so who's the meaningful? How meaningful? If you're talking Matthias Ekholm level, yeah, I'm going for it. But there's others. So if Klingberg fills that spot, now that whole defense looks a lot different. Then up front, where are things at with Kane? And then maybe
hold on a second here. 2 things. What's Klingberg going to look like? You're getting ahead of yourself on Klingberg, Struds, like we did about 10 minutes ago.
But I got to see it. I got to see it. I got to see what he looks like. I got to let him get his beak wet and see if he can play. If he can't, great. That solves the problem. And that saves some assets. I'm sure that's the intention. They're praying every night before they go to sleep that guy can play.
Tough to leave rounds in the chamber. You are in such a Stanley Cup window right now. It is tough to leave rounds in the chamber for sure. And so if you don't go do something because you didn't want to trade Carter Savoy or Matt Savoy, now I'm completely confused on which. But you understand. You take my point, right? Because of that, you weren't willing to do that. You weren't willing to trade Sam O'Reilly, who hadn't played a game for you and had a pretty good year in junior, but what's he guaranteed to be? and you're in a Stanley Cup window with McDavid in a year where he's got to negotiate a new deal. You're going to leave rounds in the chamber? Really?
I would. It depends. You got to give me specific names, but I just this if you trade away, let's say you trade away all those 3 kids, and there's nothing like who is coming up to play with these guys? Perry's barely has any time left. Henrique's running out of time. Ekholm's getting old. Like they're getting old, right? They're the oldest team in the league. You need something to fill because Leon O'Connor will be here for a long time, right? Like I said, this team has depleted its assets. Like they've won Stanley Cups and they have not. And they have very little in the chamber to keep coming and keep adding as they go. Tampa Bay did it, but they won Stanley Cups. The Oilers haven't done it yet. So I don't know, man. I understand the balance, but I'm
only make the trade if you're going to win the cup. So that's only make the trade if you're going to win the cup.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I just look at other teams have hammered all their assets out the door, and they have these 2 stars, and like there's no one to play with them, right? You start then you got to start the cycle all over again, and then they're going to get older, right? It's
CK Pond says if we win 1 cup, empty the clip, and I'm okay if the cupboard is bare. So they're the voice of the fans. Zuby, one more, and then we got to wrap this segment. We're over time here, buddy.
Okay, I'm going to go with a quick comment here, and then there's 2 things I wanted to get to that are related,
Sure.
and they're related to the poll. I did want to bring up Kevin Bintoro saying it was a hot 40-degree day here today in Sydney, Australia, but the Oilers first in the Pacific is even hotter. And I'm setting that up because Struddy, I need a clip of you with the Aussie accent for another project. So hit me with it.
Oi, mate, what's going on today, mate? Down under. Get the barbie out. Have some shrimp on the barbie.
That's perfect.
It's getting worse. It's not perfect. It's getting more insulting and worse.
I don't know. I thought
Sounds
that
like
was clean.
Crocodile Dundee.
Oh boy.
Okay, as we're going to double back to the poll in a minute here, I'm just going to there was a couple comments on players that appear in the poll, and I'll just throw these both out, and then you guys can kind of chime in where you want. Noel Rinsky said, hating on Arvidsson is bizarre. He's the hardest working player on the team, in his opinion. Agree or disagree? And also, Easton says, any worries about Kane getting up to pace in playoff mode with no games in what will be 10 months? How does that affect his perceived or potential spot in the top 6? And someone else said, I forget the exact wording of it, but basically like if he takes 5 or 6 games to get up to speed in the playoffs, that's a loss already sort of in their mind. Anything on either of those 2 thoughts before we wrap up the poll here?
Yeah, I'll just jump here quickly on Kane, assuming he doesn't play until the playoffs. Like he made the point, I jumped in midstream a couple seasons ago. I'm pretty good at that. He feels, if you ask Evander Kane, I'm sure he feels like he'll step back in and be like playoff Evander Kane from a couple of years ago. I'm not sure. It wouldn't stun me if he stepped back in and we were like, oh boy. You can't just step in at this level of hockey at his age and just think it's all going to come back immediately. I could see it going either way, Struds. If I had to bet, I would say bottom 6 role.
Yeah, and you got to let him play into shape, right? Yeah, let him get going, let him play into it. But he has a role to play on this team in the playoffs. He brings an element they do not have, right? And he can bring that. And if he embraces that, he can have a big impact for the group.
Yeah, is there any chance, Schauger, that he was dealing with that hernia, obviously, for a little while last year, maybe affecting his fitness, which is like a thing he, I think, is kind of personally known for. Is there any chance he comes back? Well, I guess now it's the knee too. Like, just comes back in crazy shape. Like with this time, comes back in incredible shape, and I guess getting into hockey shape is different than. Yeah. But
maybe, I don't know. Like, he talked about one of the things that he's done a really good job of in his recovery is just resting his body, not pushing himself and resting his body. So that's been a big focal point, right? So let's see. The one thing I won't do is count out Evander Kane and his athleticism, right? The guy he really is an incredible athlete, and he's put together well. So let's just see. Let's wait and see what comes out the other side and how his game looks. I'll wrap up the poll real quick there, Zuby.
Okay, yeah, the DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center poll. YouTube poll tonight, we said, which player do you for sure want to be in the Oilers' top 6 forwards when the playoffs begin? And Evander Kane's at the top of that list, 46% of the vote. Podkolzin, 32%. Arvidsson, 11%. New Guy, 9%. We did have a couple write-in votes for Brandon Tanev. Machine Gun Yanmark said Tuck or Braden Shen as the dream ads, more realistic ads, Zucker or Frederick. So, yeah, those were some of the write-in votes we got.
Yeah.
See Shen and Miller go at it tonight, Struddy?
Yeah, that was tough one for Miller.
Yeah, pretty good right hand there from Shen.
Yeah.
Decisive. Although
Yeah,
he's fighting a little more this year. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Okay, we got to get back to our scoreboard, Struds. We didn't have a chance to get to that before. Brought to you by Canadian Club. So the all-new CC Classic, it's 58%. It is a whopper. Their highest proof Canadian Club Classic to date. Full-bodied whiskey, aromas of caramel toffee, spicy vanilla, and rich oak. It's got a real nice butterscotch finish as well. Number of other games on the schedule tonight, Struds, including Dylan Holloway producing.
Yeah, I don't even want to bring that to Oilers fans, especially after this conversation of prospects. But there was 5 games tonight. The ones that are important for the Oilers, the Wings beat the Kings 5-2. So, it's really important. Obviously, the Oilers are playing the Wings soon. And the Kings are a team trying to catch both the Oilers and Vegas. We got the Canucks 5-2, winners over the Blues. I should have mentioned Lucas Raymond had 4 points in that Detroit Red Wings. And then Connor Garland, 2 goals for the mighty Canucks. And then Sharks Pens 2-1. Crosby scored, but Celebrini scored his 16th goal of the year, having a pretty decent first year down there. And that was a game winner for the Sharkies.
I'm more than happy to bring the people Dylan Holloway's stats line. A goal, 1755. 6 shot attempts, 2 on net, 4 hits, and 2-0 in the face-off circle. And did you see his goal, Struds? One-timer from the half wall on the power play. Just rifled it in.
Yeah. I think he's on the first line right now. So, tough one.
I think he's on pace, 26 goals or something like that. I think his pace,
tough.
Pretty unreal.
That's
Good on him.
One.
Good on him. All right, that was our scoreboard brought to you by Canadian Club. Let's wrap up the show. We had a great story. Brownie brought it up in Brownie Points, but we're going to show you a little bit more of it in our Gallery Dental Play of the Day. They got a full range of services to keep your smile healthy. The experienced team providing personalized care with the latest technology, making sure you get the best treatment possible. Contact GalleryDentalYEG.com. Mr. Shine, Struds, with a pretty wicked debut.
Yeah, 31 years old. Dominic Shine got his first game for his hometown team in the Red Wings. He had his wife there, and as he walked out of the dressing room, going on the ice, his wife and 2 young children were there. They were beside him, as you can see it, for the warm-up. I mean, what a moment. And he went out of his way after the game to talk about how it wasn't just for him, it's for everybody who got him there. It took him a long time to get there. I believe it was 9 years in the minors, 4 years of college. And he makes it. So great, great moment. I love that the Red Wings were so willing to let him have this moment with his little ones, because they'll remember it forever.
You gonna roll that clip?
They won't remember it.
Do we have the clip?
He'll remember it.
It was amazing. I got the call probably around 10:30. I was driving my son to get some ice skates. Actually, it was just kind of ironic. It was crazy. I'm just so thrilled for myself, but also my parents and everyone who put in hard work to get me to where I'm at.
Oh yeah, beauty of a story.
So good.
Love to see that great moment out in Detroit. All right, that's our play of the day, brought to you by Gallery Dental, and that will wrap up the show. Good one tonight, Struds. Thanks, pal.
Yeah, good times, boys. Talk to you Wednesday.
All right, Zuby, nice work at the controls, my friend.
Thanks, fellas. Good show, and always great contributions on the stream.
Yeah.
We're hovering around 500 people all night. We had 300 on the poll and pushing 1,500 total views on YouTube. So
love it. Absolutely
Excellent
love it. And that's not including what we had over on X as well. So thanks to everybody for joining us over there. Or if you're downloading, we really appreciate it. Great contributions as always. Have a fantastic night. Look forward to chatting again Wednesday. The Oilers set to take on the Red Wings on Thursday. We'll drop a pod after that one as well. So lots of content coming your way here from Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta. Talk to you soon.